what you can see here is my fire pile where I'm trying to burn little bits of leftover grapes as well as the infected citrus leaves. I didn't want to run the risk of infecting other people's crops and things like that, so one of the ways they said is to burn it, and I like burning stuff. So anyway, it didn't go too well. It's a bit too green still, so rather than force the issue, I just thought I'd stop and leave it for a couple of days. Alright, so going around the garden, and I'll show you my grapefruit tree. Now this tree was loaded. You can see for the size of it, it is still loaded. I've taken at least 10 fruit off this tree, so productivity is not an issue for this tree. It's everything else that goes with it. Don't know if you can see, so I've still got a couple of little tiny galls remaining. They're going to be cut off. Obviously I can't cut those off until those fruit are ripe. And I just, can you see the scale on the fruit? But not only that, it's on the branches, it's everywhere. All right, the other one that's struggling, not with the citrus gall wasp, but scale and white louse scale, it had completely defoliated. This is my Cara Cara orange, which for those of you who haven't read my blogs, it's a really lovely orange, absolutely amazing in flavour, and normally quite healthy, but this year we have had so much trouble with it. So I spray organically, so one of the things you can use is a lime sulfur spray that can, yeah, you can even see that. And so I've got oyster scale as well, so that kind of, I don't know if you can see it well enough, but it is shocking on my trees. That little leaf there is a classic example of oyster scale, if you can see that. But it's on the branches as well. You can scratch all of these branches, and I'm not scratching the bark there, I'm scratching off the oyster scale. It is covered in oyster scale. Again, this has a fair amount of fruit, and it actually dropped a lot of fruit. It was under so much stress. I've chopped back most of the dead stuff, sprayed it, and let's see what happens from there. All right, other citrus is doing fine. Like this is an Aphora mandarin. It's got fruit ripening, but again, it's had fruit fly and things like that, so we haven't been eating that much. This one over here is a Satsuma, and again, loaded with fruit. I've picked so much off it, but most of it has gone to fruit fly. So this year, well next year, I'm going to make sure that I net the tree. I don't think I can net individual fruit just because it's so prolific. Like there would have had to have been close to 100. Oh, I tell a lie, look at that. Oh no, it's not a gall. I thought it was a gall. It's my eyesight playing tricks. All right, so this is another mandarin. It's quite lovely. I think this one's the Emperor. It's not a dwarf, so I'm gonna have issues with that one. It's already quite tall. And then you can see all my zinnias and everything lining the back before we go into the main garden bed. Now, these are the new garden beds I built. Now what I used to have down the side here was a pathway so I could walk along this side of my beds, but I never really did that anyway, because if you can see, my strawberries go along here. It's not a lot of space when the strawberries are there. And I also used to have, in that section there, I used to have some old mulberry trees that were not productive anymore because I just didn't look after them. So I decided might as well use the space, so I dug it up. So in it I've planted potatoes. Now these were potatoes because, you know, with everything going on, couldn't buy potatoes, seed potatoes for love nor money. These were fortunate for me. I tried growing potatoes on the block last year on the farm, and I had a whole bunch of tiny ones that didn't do anything, so I just ended up putting them in a box and just chucking them on the in the garage, and then went to buy seed potatoes, couldn't find any, and went, hang on, I thought I had some, and I did. So I've planted them. You can see they've come up very, very well. I'm going to do the mounding method, so I've started to mound up some, this is just grass. There was a place down the road from me that had just dumped all this grass out on the side of the road, so I went, you beaut, I'll take that. The first garden bed here is tomatoes. Now it's looking really sickly, but I don't know if it's the bed or if it's the tomatoes. Now I get really bad mite problems, and these were planted late summer where mites were still heavy in my garden. So I mean, this sort of burnt looking leaves is classic, but there are also varieties that I've not really planted before. So I've got Sweet Million and I've got Barry's Crazy Cherry. Barry's Crazy Cherry, I ended up giving up and cutting it off, but it looks like it's coming back. These are the Sweet Millions. So they're going to be tiny little cherry tomatoes, which I don't mind. But you can see, like, by the time I'm getting up here, it's all dead. So I'm just waiting for them to ripen and see how they are. I don't know if I will bother trying to plant these again. No idea what these are. I can't even remember what I planted. So we'll make sure. I try to do labels, but it's not always successful. Last of my little dodgy corn patch. It's got a couple of little cobs. I don't know if they'll amount to anything. I'm just leaving them for a little bit longer. Quite a decent harvest. It doesn't look like much, but I ended up with that back bit. Ended up with 10 decent cobs. So I was quite happy with that. This next bed is my Tromboncino. Look at it. Look at it. It is huge. I'm going to try and put my hand next to it for a comparison. I don't know if you can see that, but there's my hand there, and it is massive. So these are like a zucchini, so you eat the bloody fruit fly. Look, I'll show you what I mean. I don't know if you saw that. Anyway, this is what happens. They sting the shit out of stuff. So normally I can't grow zucchinis. I tried to grow yellow zucchinis. They kept getting stung before they even opened their blossom. Tromboncinos, you're generally okay, because what they'll do is they generally don't sting this bit, and they'll generally go for this big bulby bit down the bottom. Now what that means is this bit will develop like normal to a decent sized, I could pick that and eat it. And then this is the bit that gets all wormy and stuff, and you just snap that off. But yeah, look, that one's been stung down the bulb end, nothing up the other end. So they'll be fine to eat, but I rarely get one that, sets properly. We had a few really cold days where the fruit fly must have been just a little bit more inactive, and it managed to survive. Now there are a few little stings, but it looks like if they had live maggots in there, that would have all rotted. But so maybe it just didn't, or it developed too fast and it didn't harden up enough that they didn't bother it. But anyway, that's the Tromboncino. I'm going to notice it's going an orangey colour. They kind of go like a pumpkin. People say you can eat them like a pumpkin. I've tried. They don't do anything for me as a pumpkin. So I'm just saving that one for seeds. I might make pumpkin scones or something to use it up, otherwise it's going to go to the chooks. Alright, so I had said that I wasn't going to use the stringing up method again for tomatoes. Now I did like it when I kept on top of it, and anyway, one of the reasons was because the string snapped. So what I've done this year, I decided I would try it again, but I've doubled the string up and tied them up in like little knots all the way along the string, so that if it does snap, there's another length there that will help support it. But the reason why I wanted to do it is because you can fit so many more tomatoes in a single bed when you do this method. Now, by stringing them up, yes, I lose some tomatoes, but the fact that I can plant so many more different varieties, and eventually by the end of it, it overgrows anyway. By the time summer hits, I can't keep up with the amount of tomatoes that come out of my garden anyway, so I figure sacrificing a couple won't matter. These ones look remarkably healthy, so I don't know, they were planted after, so later than those other tomatoes I showed you, but again, I don't know what it is. Could be that. It could be that they're just a better variety. Again, these are all ones I haven't grown before. These ones are Diggers. I think, what was it? Oh, it was a mixed packet anyway. It had John Flam, Tommy Toes, Green Zebras, black crims, which I am hoping that variety there is. They've set to be a nice big tomato. Now, I've never really grown nice big tomatoes. I've always liked cherries and Romas, but I'll give it a shot this year, and I'm hoping they're black crims. But these all look the same, and when you go and see the ones out the front, they look the same too. Though these, I don't know. So they might all be Tigerellas, which is the other type in there. They might be green zebras. I've never grown either of those two varieties, so couldn't tell you, but can't wait. But look at it, I've just got fruit everywhere, so I cannot wait. So down here, I've got a couple more. So there was 3 tomatoes there, another 2 here. These ones, can't tell you what they are, but they're ones I've normally grown before, so I just can't remember what I planted. Was very slack with labelling this year. I thought I'd remember. You never ever do. Trust me on this one. You think you're going to remember, you don't. And then these 3 here were much later started, but I did actually label these. So that's a black cherry, which is one of my favourite. This one here is a black cherry Roma, again one of my favourite, grow it every single year. And this one over here is a Roma tomato, VF. I don't know what the VF stands for. This one, I went to the Botanic Gardens and they had a free planting your own seeds thing, and I just picked out some seeds and chucked them in, and yeah, that was one of them. So it did okay. I gave the other one away that I planted to people at work. But in here, I've got really bad problems with slaters, so I don't normally direct sow anything. However, I thought I'm going to try and use toilet rolls and protect some stuff, because some things just don't transplant well in my garden. Beetroot doesn't transplant well. Spring onions, for love nor money, cannot get them to transplant. So what I've got here is I've got spring onions, and they seem to be coming up really, really nicely. I can get silver beet, but I just thought, what the hell, I'll put a couple in, and look at them, they've come up really nice. And then I've put some spinach. Now, I've tried to do spinach in my seedling pots about 3 times this year, and I've had really poor germination rates. So I thought, oh well, I'll chuck it in the ground, better germination rate than I've got. So what I think it is that my seedling pots are maybe getting too hot for spinach, while the beds are staying much cooler. So I had no trouble, and I planted some in pots, in seedlings pots, the same time I planted these. These have all come up, and I only had 2 of the other one that came up. So anyway, got a couple of Diggers eggplant again. Couldn't tell you, they were a mix because I like trying different things. I think this one is a Slim Jim. I don't know. It's very purpley looking. This one here is not looking good. I don't know what's wrong with it. And it seems to be recovering, so like all the new growth is pretty good. So I'm going to keep it going and see how it travels. What else can I show you? Oh, peas. Look at this. Some years I can't grow peas, other years I can grow them. To be fair though, these ones I saved from a really late fruiting variety from last year. I can't even remember what it was. I just know it survived the longest in my garden and was the least disease ridden in a year that I could not grow peas. I just didn't grow like a successful crop last year, and look at them go. So I am really, really happy with that. So you can see I've got little peas and I've got a whole bunch of flowers. So I'm really excited about that. Here were the peas that I planted that were not the saved seeds, and some of them are doing okay. Those little crop there are doing okay, but these all died, shriveled up and died, and that's generally what happens with my peas. And then I also thought I would try, because I grow in wicking beds and I don't know if sometimes they're the best. So I thought I'll chuck some peas down the side here. Oh, what's growing in here? I planted some seeds of radish, spring onions, normal onions, and carrots. Not much has come up, but that could be because I haven't looked after it that well. And my cat keeps walking along and putting little divots in there, so she's not helping either. I'm thinking So one of the things I discovered after I thought about growing onions, I've never grown onions before, was the variety I've got are not great. So I just picked up seeds from Bunnings, and they had Hunter Valley Brown, I think, a California Red. Both of those are indeterminate, medium day length or something like that. They will not grow onions in Queensland. We need short day length varieties. So fortunately for me, there was an article in Gardening Australia magazine, and it was about what varieties are short day varieties. Got onto Four Seasons Seeds and have just ordered myself a whole bunch of I think it's Cipollone whites, Cipollone browns, and I did have a Gladden brown that I bought from somewhere, I can't remember, and they're supposed to be short-ish day length as well. So I'm going to rip out these onions anyway, retry them with the varieties that should actually give me onions, and we'll see what happens. I don't know about you, but just look at that. Look at that, isn't it stunning? I love zinnias. I am going to continue to plant these forever and a day. I think this is really the first year I've given zinnia growing a really good shot. Oh, I'll have you know, so with COVID sitch and everything like that, I went a bit overboard with planting, like turning this into a garden bed. But another thing I find doesn't do well is any type of cucurbit in my wicking beds. Like some days they'll do, like sometimes I'll get cucumbers doing excellent, sometimes I won't. It's really hit and miss. So I thought I'd try a whole bunch of stuff that I normally don't in the garden. So I have a pumpkin growing up there. It seems quite happy. I've got, I think this one is a button squash, and I have a golden nugget pumpkin over there, and I'm just going to see how they go. They seem to be doing well. I don't know, my plan is, I guess in the future, is to have both these sections garden beds, never ever not plant flowers, but have them planted in amongst stuff like I've got them now, so keep it going. Anyway, what else? Oh, the brassicas. Okay, so here is, sorry, you have to grow under nets, guys. There's no thing that you can do. So this here is, I've got some pak choi, I've got lettuce up the centre, I've got some kale. Oh, again, those kale were from that seed planting thing. I don't actually have seeds for kale, and look at them, they're pretty good. I might grow them again. And then I've got some other brassicas. Now, they're pretty sorry looking at the back there. I've got two cauliflowers and a cabbage, red cabbage. They got smashed by some sort of grub. It wasn't cabbage fly because I had this covered up. So I don't know. But they're definitely not. These were all planted at exactly the same time. Oh, by the way, these are a Chinese broccoli. The one's Choy Sum, and they're looking really well. So if you want something that grows, I don't know what choy, I mean, I've had it in restaurants, but I don't know how it grows exactly. It looks very different to broccoli. So anyway, we'll see what Choy Sum does, but it's looking pretty good. So if you wanted to try something that seems to be doing well, that does well. Oh, bok choy of course does well. And the kale looks like it's going great. So those are three things I could recommend planting if you wanted to do some brassicas. Got an earlier planting over here, and again under a net. So again, I've got some cabbages under here. These are the red mini ball from Mr. Fothergill actually. I find they do really, really well in our climate. I've got some other broccolis. I think that's a DeSico. Yeah, it's a DeSico broccoli. They're doing okay, but again, these were all planted at the same time. Look at the difference. So, I don't know, they get the same treatment. These actually get more sun than the cabbages, but yeah, anyway. And then we got some lettuce. These are Salanova lettuces. They don't seem to grow that fast. I don't know if they're just a more cool weather sort of thing. Yeah, but they're all Solanova lettuces, not that one there, but the rest of them are. And then my silver beet, which was fantastic. I've been harvesting it pretty harshly because I've got nothing else coming out of my garden at the moment other than, well, that's a lie, I've got quite a lot, but it's always good to have spinach. But yeah, I planted some more spinach like you saw. I've got some more over there, so I should get plenty. Anyway, let's go out to the front. I've got to make sure everything's covered up properly. Next thing you know, I'll have butterfly. Oh, more tomatoes. So I've never tried these varieties either, but I'm just tomato mad this year. Plus I want to make my own sauces, and because I really struggle to grow tomatoes during summer, which you're supposed to be able to grow tomatoes during summer, but I can't, I want to make sure I've put enough tomatoes up to last me. I'm sick of buying canned tomatoes. So I have Cherokee Purples, which I've heard are really good, and a Brandywine, which I can't wait. So I can't wait to taste those three. Those are, those two varieties. They're both big tomatoes, which like I said, I don't normally grow. They're supposed to be excellent flavour. Giving Barry's Crazy Cherry another go. If this does badly like it did over there, that's it. This is about the 4th time I've tried to plant these and they just don't do well. And that is just a random tomato seedling that came up. It is probably what's known as a blueberry. Now they're really good tomatoes to grow as well. Very prolific. They just take over your garden. So anyway, I don't bother replanting them or saving the seeds. They just come up and you can recognize them because they have a really, it's not showing up on the thing, but it's got a really purpley stem. So that's the way I can always tell which one is a blueberry tomato. Now, I had said my beans were going well, but look, it is a sad story, state of affairs. I'm going to try them in the ground as well. I think maybe, I've had years where they've done well, but I've had years where they've really struggled. So I'm just going to try them in the ground. I've got some ground garden beds available, so I'm going to do that. Basil was looking good. We've had a cold couple of nights. It's not doing so great anymore. It's sad when your basil goes. Oh, don't mind my mess, people. I have to wander around carefully. So this is another in-ground bed. Now I'm going to get rid of these trees. That's on the to-do list after winter when our main growing season's over. It's going to be a summer job, and I am going to be able to have a nice big in-ground garden bed all the way along here, which will be fantastic. These are some more brassicas I planted in summer, but you can see these are wombox. They got hammered by snails or slugs or I don't know what. Absolutely hammered. This capsicum was doing really well. It's starting to look a bit sad and sorry for itself. I picked up a really nice looking capsicum the other day, and now I've got two little ones left. I don't know. I'm just letting them ripen. I think I'm going to rip this bed out. Another cabbage. I've got a broccoli that's gone to flower over there because it never set much of a head. And I think I've got some other broccoli down the back there, but I don't know. And they're really struggling. Like these two little ones, they were planted way before that other bed, and look at them. They're not doing anything much. To be fair, I don't really look after this bed much at all. But anyway, that'll change. That'll change once I get the trees gone and can plant them. All right. Oh, more potatoes. So this is what started me. I went and bought some potatoes for dinner one night at a local fruit and veggie shop, really, really cheap too, and half of them had sprouted, so I was like, sweet, I'll plant them, and they have come up really, really well. They're a purple skinned variety, so they were planted probably about a month earlier than the other ones you saw, and I have buried them twice now, and they just look really, really well, so I'm really happy with that. Okay. Blueberries. So these are my blueberries. I make sure well, I've made sure that I'm giving them fertilizer and everything like that. Last year I got my first decent crop of blueberries, so I cannot wait to have them continue. I planted some more garlic. Now, these were just ones I found at Bunnings, so I don't know if they're going to do any good. I'll show you the garlic out the front that I planted about a month earlier. It's up and it's running. Now, the plan is for this area here is I'm going to put some more strawberry runners all the way through here. I've pruned up the mango tree, so a bit more sunlight gets in here. This actually produced quite well. I only had about 5 plants in there last year, and it did fairly well because it gets the afternoon shade. And so strawberries don't really like that hot afternoon sun, so it did pretty well. The other plan for this space is raspberries. So I'm trialing how a heritage raspberry is going to go in the ground. I have grown them in the ground before, but not very successfully. So because I'm making sure I'm looking after the blueberries, I'm hoping that by having that there, I will look after it. And look, my little seedling lychee, it's doing really, really well. So I'm happy with that. That was the custard apple. Gone. Bye-bye custard apple. No good anymore. Where else? Oh, okay, you need to ignore this mess. This is the great bamboo cut down of 2020. This is only half of what we managed to cut down. So that there is my remaining clump of bamboo. This is what was cut. Now I am going to be digging this up. Like I said, I've got that farm and I want to see if I can plant some of this, but it's in the too hard basket right now until we get some rain. Once we get some rain, I'm going to try and chip out little stands of this bamboo and take it to the farm where it can grow to its heart content. And I'm only going to keep just a nice tiny, because as you can see, there's more than enough bamboo there to last me forever and a day. So that's just gonna do its thing. All right, so this is me. This usually is all flowers, but again, decided to go a bit extra in the garden this year. Got some capsicums and got some more eggplants. Again, I've got one doing really, really well, and I've got another one not doing so well. And again, this was the Diggers mix, so I'm wondering if the two that aren't doing well are the same variety. So it might be that is the reason. So more capsicum, a little bit of garlic, and more tomatoes. These are looking amazing as well. Like, I don't grow tomatoes in the ground, but these ones are. And I've been quite proud of myself. I've been keeping them going really, really well. Just to look at them. I suspect they are all the same type. So they could either be green zebra or tigerellas. Maybe I'm lucky and I've got a mix of both. I don't know. We shall see. Now this is usually roses, and there are roses in there. And I've got some zinnias and some rosinias. But I didn't really. Right. This is the back of my garden. Completely covered the front of my garden. But having said that, I do have some nice little pumpkins growing. Had to net them. Again, fruit fly. I kept losing all the blossoms to fruit fly. So started covering them up, and look at that. So I have really decent pumpkins growing now. This is my Listardia Gigantea eggplant. Oh my gosh. This is such a pretty eggplant. I only harvested 5 yesterday, so there's nothing left on there to show you really. Heaps of flowers. Actually, I do have a tiny, tiny little one. But they are so pretty. You should grow these, and they're so yummy. Definitely grow them. Oh look, here we go. Now they do get bigger than this, but that's just to show you the colour. So they get to be about the size of my palm. So they get bigger. They don't get massive, but look how pretty that is. Isn't it gorgeous? So these little tiny garden beds pretty much can only grow heat-loving plants, because and even in summer, this struggles. Like even an eggplant will struggle in these beds in summer because they just heat up too much. They do really well in winter, and they do really, really well in winter growing eggplants and things like that. So anyway, that's them. Oh, another tomato that just went rank, and it's doing so well. It's obviously, I didn't plant this one, it came up by itself. It's obviously a Roma because I've got little tiny fruits in there, which is great because I love using Romas. Oh, look at that one. That's a better fruit. Let's hope the fruit fly don't find them. Look at the colour on that. So, to show you, I have 4 pumpkins. This one here is, I think, a futsu, and look at that. I think I've got my first pumpkin. Again, had to cover it because we don't want fruit fly. Anyway, guys, I think I've bored you long enough. There's the garden. Hope you enjoyed it.